So, as the title says, is Star Citizen a scam? Well, no. No, it's not a scam. Okay? Video done? Right, let's go.
Get back to the video, Bloodclaw.
What? Why? Answer the questions.
You need to give them more info.
Okay, fine. So I'm thinking that most of the people here are going to be doing their research on the game and are worried because they've heard some people calling Star Citizen a scam. Or at least those of you that are in that position need this video the most. So with that in mind, I'm going to do my best to explain the situation. So Star Citizen has had more than its fair share of complaints. People calling it nothing but a scam. A large portion of the fan base around a couple of years ago did start to think Star Citizen was a scam, designed to enthrall the internet with a promise of a space game on a grand scale like say Eve, but with less spreadsheets and more online life. And then once they'd enthralled people with that sort of vision, they'd start the Kickstarter, take the money, and disappear with the money. But they've not disappeared, have they? They still talk daily on their forum. They post very high quality videos several times a week, bring new updates to the playable alpha of their game major updates every 3 months-ish, and regular updates every week at least to fix bugs and stuff like that. But let's say I'm completely wrong. Or who knows, maybe I'm being paid by the developers, trying to make their scam look like it's not a scam. Well, just go download the game for yourself. At the time of me recording this, the game is currently free, and by the time I've uploaded it, the game should still be well and truly free in its current event, which is a free fly week, which is starting the 28th of October. And it should continue till the 3rd of November 2019. So go try the game for free if you're in this week and make up your own mind. If you are too late and you have missed this event, then they do these events roughly every 6 months, so sit tight, there will be another one soon. Or you can pop over to their YouTube and watch some of their videos, like some of their trailers for the game, which are built as though they're trailers for the ship, like they're built as though they're TV commercials for the ships in game. The quality of those videos is absolutely breathtaking. Or you could go watch some of my Let's Play videos and see gameplay of the game as well, and that should help you sort of see that this game isn't a scam. If you do go do anything like that, just think about how much effort and money they've been needing to put into this scam to maintain it. I tell you what, if it is a scam, they're putting that much effort into maintaining this scam, they'd be just as well making the goddamn game. What would be the point in them trying to maintain the scam when they already have the actual mother trucking buttload of Kickstarter money this game got? Diminishing returns on maintaining a scam at this scale over the years would be a vast understatement, to say the least. They would have cut ties and run away with the money a long time ago. When I was doing a bit of research into why this game is often called a scam, I came across a video that was released recently where the person in question releasing the video was calling the game a scam, but even admitted in like the first, it was about 20 seconds of the video, that it was not. And now I exactly quote his words here: it may as well be a scam. And that sort of brings us on to our next point. The game is not a scam, but why do some people say that it is? Where does the "it's a scam" mentality come from? Now, I can understand why there are some people crying wolf. Well, scam in this case. They're frustrated with the speed in which the game is being developed. This game was announced and went into Kickstarter back in 2012 with an initial estimated release date of 2014. That was a long time ago now, and I don't think anyone is going to argue that fact. But the thing is, this lengthy development cycle was to be expected for a number of reasons. Number 1. SEG, or Cloud Imperium Games, that's the developer by the way, did not exist before the development of this game started. Not a single employee or resource to its name at all. Now, last time we needed to hire new people at my day job, we needed only 2 employees, and that still took just under 2 months to hire them, and around another half a month to get them fully trained and signed off. SEG have gone from nothing to a company that has over 600 employees with 3 different branches in different countries around the world. That takes a lot of time and effort. That sort of thing just doesn't happen overnight. Look at my work taking 2.5 months to get 2 employees, getting them trained and up to scratch. I can't even imagine the effort it'd take to employ 600 people. I guesstimate an average of 5 interviews per job. That's around 3,000 interviews alone, never mind the training and all the other effort involved. And you can't use the argument that, oh, but the more employees they get, the faster that 600 will get. My employer has thousands and thousands of employees all across the planet, and with like hundreds of branches across this country alone, never mind in other countries. So yeah, the thousands and thousands of employees is not an understatement, and it took them 2.5 months to employ 2 people. And now, reason number 2 why this game should have been expected to take a really long time was that its scale is breathtaking. I've started to describe this game as the first quadruple A title in gaming history. Back when this game was announced in its Kickstarter stage, not announced, but back when this game was in its Kickstarter stage, so shortly after announcement, the developers, there we go, I managed to say it, seen the buttloads of pledge money that was coming in and decided to have a vote just for the pledgers. The vote was, should they stick to the original vision of the game for a potential 2014 release, or use the extra money to create a game on a scale of which we have never seen before, but take a much longer development time. And guess what? The vote came back, and now I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it was something like 80 or 88% voted for go ham, take longer, create something never truly seen before. The amount of planned content has increased so much that the required staff and infrastructure to support the development of this game has skyrocketed from the initial plan of a 2014 release. As an extra unforeseen downside to this drastic change in the amount of planned content, almost all the assets and item creation from the early years has had to be redone and reimagined to remain valid in this sort of new vision of the game. This obviously led to massive delays, with which the effort spent in the early years appearing basically worthless, adding hugely to the frustration of those already frustrated with the extended development. With all that in mind, the development has only really started to ramp up the last 2 years or so, and I expect things to start speeding up even more in the next couple of years, due to the aforementioned infrastructure being fully in place now, and the release of Squadron 42, the single player version of this game, coming next year or shortly after, its developers being freed up for this project and its assets being freed to be ported over. Now let's compare this project to something else for a second. Activision Blizzard is a huge company that employs one hell of a lot of employees, and one of its up-and-coming titles, Diablo 4, has already been in development for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years. Blizz already had its buttload of staffs, it already had its developer tools ready and ready to go, it was 100% established and ready to go before they started work on Diablo 4, and then on top of that, the time required to make and develop a game like Diablo is but a fraction of what is required to make a game on the scale of Star Citizen. When you compare those two side by side, I start to get the impression that SEG has not done as bad a job as the 2014 original release date might suggest. Just look at, you've got like, yes, 2012 announcement, originally 2014 release, but the scale and the resources required to make the game has skyrocketed tenfold, and there's a lot of extra work. So yes, that's sort of almost 8 years, well, 7 years now, going to be 8 years next year. Development time seems unfair, but then when you compare it to 4 years for Diablo, it starts looking a lot more realistic. Right. Moving on to more modern times though, as these days the amount of people actually crying scam appear to be very few and far between, thankfully. But there are still naysayers for this game, and one of the main arguments I'm seeing from these naysayers is that SEG is incompetent as they're making the dull, crap content instead of the cool, promised Kickstarter content. I think these comments lack the understanding of development, as they seem to think they can run before they can walk. Let me sort of describe what I mean. And we'll use an example. The new cave gameplay that was just introduced in Alpha 3.7. Caves are not the big, shiny new gameplay that a space game revolves around. So why did they develop and release them before other things? The short answer is the tech required to implement these caves is the stepping stone to the cool content. The cave content is going to be needed for when they make asteroid bases, asteroid prisons, player-like manned asteroids, just asteroid assets in general, which is a pretty big thing that a lot of the space content is going to revolve around. So this really cool content had this more sort of mundane, required content that it required to come online. The development for this game, you can view as sort of steps, and each step unlocks the next part of the game that they can add. There's no point in them trying to add asteroid stuff before they can add the caves. You can't do it. It's like trying to walk. It's like trying to run before you can walk. You just don't have the infrastructure there. You don't have the systems in place. So the development of this game is a lot like a complexity ladder, with the most basic systems coming online first, and then that allows them to then take the step up and go on to the next systems. So I now feel I have described the situation to an adequate level to anyone new to the scene, and hopefully you will understand the situation, and that just leaves me wanting to answer this one question. Should you buy Star Citizen? Now, I'm not gonna lie, buying into Star Citizen at this point in time is not for everyone. That is why so many people have started to get frustrated, as we talked about before. I do not expect this game to be released for at least 3 years. And though, yes, Alpha is playable now in its current state of the game, I would say it's only like half of a base skeleton of a game there. with the other half of the skeleton still to be developed. Then after that's done, all the flesh to then be put onto the skeleton to make it its full game. Now, if fully knowing and understanding that, you still want to try and you still want to play, feel free to purchase a starter pack and you're going to have a great time. You're going to have fun. But if you're not willing to wait, if you don't fully understand what I just tried to say, you're probably going to get frustrated. And you'll get as frustrated as those people that seem to think this game is a scam. So with that all said, I hope you know what is best for you, and I'll say bye-bye. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.